Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about director, producer, all things filmmaking, Robert Rodriguez. And the reason I want to talk about him is he was on a lot of podcasts that I listened to recently. I listened to him a lot, and I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I learned from him. First, let's talk about who is Robert Rodriguez. He is the creator slash director of many films that you've possibly seen or heard of. Some of the most popular are Spy Kids. I grew up watching that. From Dusk Till Dawn, Desperado, and so much more. He has lots of different credits for all sorts of different roles. One of the most interesting things about Robert was that he started his career making a movie for only $7,000. He did this in 1992, so for basically no money at all, he made a movie that was fairly popular. And he went on to break into the industry and make a real career out of it. So let's talk about 5 different things that I've learned from him. 6. The first thing that I learned from him was if you want to be a filmmaker, for example, you shouldn't call yourself an aspiring filmmaker. Or if you want to be a professional athlete, don't say to yourself, like, I want to be an athlete. Become one. Just say that you are one. Creating that sense of identity is an important first step in the right direction. Because if you're just an aspiring filmmaker, you're going to make plans all the time. You're going to write down all of the different things that you need. But if you are a filmmaker, you're going to start making films. If you are an athlete, you're going to start working out. Things like that. So make sure your mindset is in the right place. For example, if you want to be a healthy person, you need to identify yourself as a healthy person, not someone who's trying to be healthy, not somebody who wants to be healthy. You are somebody who's healthy. And then once you identify yourself, it's a lot easier to do those things. It's a lot easier to work out. It's a lot easier to eat healthy if you are a healthy person and you identify yourself that way. It makes it way easier to do the things that you already wanted to do once your identity is tied to that thing. There's a quote that Robert uses a lot when he's speaking, and it goes like this. Sometimes the only way to cross the river is to slip on the first 2 rocks. And what he means by that is that anytime you do something difficult, not everything is going to work out the way that you expect it to. And if it's big enough and it's adventurous enough, it's likely not going to. It's almost a certainty that something's not going to go the way that you expect it to. And what Robert recommends is to just roll with the punches, because a lot of times you get some of the best things from mistakes. When random things happen in life, don't let them get you down. Use them to make something. If you've ever heard of the saying, like, cool guys don't look at explosions, that actually comes from Robert's filmmaking. Before Robert Rodriguez, there wasn't really a scene in a movie where a character is walking away in slow motion from a big explosion. And that actually came from a sort of mistake, an unexpected scenario on set. The guy who was working with the explosives didn't have exactly what Robert was expecting. He only had a giant fireball, and the fireball was only going to last a few seconds. So Robert decided to film it in slow motion. And that's where we get the sort of cliche that we know today originally came from. It came from this sort of mistake in a sense, and it worked out in such a big way that it became so popular that it's a cliche at this point. Another saying that Robert Rodriguez says a lot is turn chicken shit into chicken salad. And what he means by this is don't wait until you get the materials that you need. Use whatever you have. Art is not perfect. People like art because it is imperfect. Art that is perfect is uninteresting. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, about like the aspiring artist mindset, right? You keep making excuses for yourself. Oh, I'll be able to do this when I have more free time. I'll be able to do this when I have more money. You need to use what you have to make whatever you can. Excellent art can be made using Crayola crowns. Great movies can be filmed on a smartphone. And amazing music can be heard from a cheap instrument. Use what you have. Just get to work. Something I noticed a lot from Robert Rodriguez's podcast that he was on recently was that he has a very beginner mindset. Something he said was never stop starting. He was always using the newest techniques, the newest technologies in his filmmaking, and it allowed him to be a more effective filmmaker. He was always quick to use the latest technology, cameras, and was willing to experiment. He made one of the first 3D movies, he filmed in VR, and he was one of the first professional filmmakers to make a feature on digital cameras. If you continue to look for the new techniques and technology, you'll find yourself at the front of the field. If you follow the innovation and try a new thing, you might not end up using it, but you're likely still going to learn something. And you'll be able to see the path forward that others might not notice. Something I've noticed about a lot of very successful people is that they keep a journal, and Robert is not the exception. He writes in his journal basically every day. He says that it allows him to remember basically every important thing that has happened to him in his life, and he can recall many stories that he would have forgotten if he didn't use his journal. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about that I learned is to surround yourself with the best. Even if you yourself can't be the best, it is helpful to be surrounded by the best. By being around the best people in your field, the analogy comes to mind of runners, right? Runners often get their best times when they're competing against other top level runners. Because when you're in the pack, right, the people behind you are encouraging you to go faster and the people in front of you are encouraging you to go faster, right? You don't want to fall behind the guy behind you, and you don't want the guy in front of you to get even further, so you work harder. And the same thing applies to filmmaking, and applies to science. Be around the best that you can and learn from them. If you're around the best in the world, you'll get exposed to the best work in the world, and you'll get to see how they accomplish that. Bring yourself around the innovators, the people who are producing the best work, and you can see their process and learn from their mistakes. And you're also building a network of people who do the same things as you, can provide encouragement, and can also teach you along the way. Now, obviously, you're not always going to be able to end up at the best place in the world, right? Like, say you're a student and you want to be really great in some subject, you're probably not going to get into the best school, but you can still push yourself to be at the highest level that you can get to. And then later on, you go to the next best place, the next best place, right? It's like you always work towards the next best thing. Yeah, so that was a short little video, but I just wanted to talk about what I had learned, because I just happened to listen to like 10 hours of Robert Rodriguez speak, and a lot of things kept coming up, and I just wanted to share those with you guys. If you liked the video, please like, comment, subscribe. If you have any other thoughts about Robert Rodriguez, please leave it in the comments below. Me personally, I really loved Spy Kids growing up. It was something that I would always watch on repeat. Like, I had it on the DVR, and I'd watch it over and over again. So it was really nice to get to meet the man behind those movies. And yeah, I recommend listening to those podcasts if any of this sounded interesting to you. All right, thanks. Bye.